together as ESPN brings you live coverage of race number 15 of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series for 1994, the Pepsi 400. It's Ernie Irvan, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Bodine, your top three.
And they have broken away from the fourth place car, which is now Greg Sachs.
Here comes the second group from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 as Mark Martin finally does pass Jimmy Spencer. Ken Schrader is running in 11th position at the tail of this lead draft.
About 5 laps ago, Ken Schrader had lost the draft of this group. He was about 2 seconds behind them, but now he has caught back up to them.
There's our lead group and our second group, as Bob just told you. Now there's another group. Let's see Schrader closing on the back bumper of Spencer.
Now let's go back and check on another group being led by 12th place runner right now, Dale Jarrett.
They were really tight a few laps ago, Bob. Jarrett was leading a pack that included Terry Labonte, and there we see Todd Bodine right behind Jarrett. They've sort of broken away from Jeff Purvis and Morgan Shepherd, and Labonte's car got off the loose. Ted Musgrave is back there in that group. So they're not doing a real good job of drafting. They're not staying close enough together, but about 3 laps ago they were. There were about 7 cars that were very close together.
Bodine in 75, and Jeff Purvis in the country time car is next, right ahead of Morgan Shepherd. Now here comes another group of cars. That's Michael Waltrip, John Andretti, Hud Strickland, Nemechek.
And here is Rusty Wallace.
And he is
the Miller Genuine Draft Ford is running in 34th spot. John Kernan for Jerry. What's wrong with Rusty?
Well, we said he was on a roll at the beginning of the day, 3 in a row, and I'm with Buddy Perry, the crew chief. Buddy, what is the problem?
Well, the problem is, you know, we wrecked out in February, and we also wrecked in Talladega. This is a brand new car. It hasn't been the wind tunnel. We just got it off. Matter of fact, the paint's not even dry on it. So Rusty's doing a great job. We're using this as a gauge to run the car at Talladega. We're going to come in and make some adjustments and see if we can get this thing caught back up. Rusty's doing a good job just hanging on right now. You see Earnhardt's fading. A lot of cars are loose out there. But like I said, we have no time on this race car, and so we're doing all we can do.
Basically, it becomes a 400-mile test session for the Miller Motorsports team and Rusty Wallace.
Running back in 33rd position, just behind Rick Mast. Rusty tested at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway recently, brought 4 cars and 9 engines, deciding on which one he'll use there. Lake Speed drops to the inside of Dale Earnhardt and tries to pick up that position.
That's for 8th spot.
And Earnhardt seems to be dropping back. John, what's the story there?
Just talked to Richard Childress, and Earnhardt a couple of laps ago had radioed in and complained that the car had picked up a severe push. Now, we anticipate pit stops happening around lap 50 to 53. Childress says what they will do is try and loosen the 3 car up, get him back out. In fact, one of the crew members held up 2 fingers. We might even see them go with just a 2-tire change.
Wow. See, he looks like he's loose the way he's going in the corner down there. He looks like he's fighting a loose car, but it could be this car just not turning when he gets down to the corner.
And Jerry Punch has more on pit stop, which should be coming up before too long.
Guys, remember Talladega, it's called Let's Make a Deal. Who's going to win and who's the dancing partner? Well, right now we're already seeing some of the deals being made down here. The 4 car and the 28 car, both expected to hit around lap 54. That means if they were to go green, they could make it on 2 pit stops only. 2 pit stops, 54, lap 108, then have 52 laps to go to the checkered flag. Looks like possibly Mark Martin and some of the other crew chiefs are down here also trying to make a deal to come in all at the same time.
And there's a deal being made right there as Larry McReynolds comes over and talks to Tony.
That's Tony Glover, the crew chief on Sterling Marlin's car. Of course, Larry McReynolds, the crew chief on Ernie Irvan's car.
And we saw they were not very animated in their discussion. As the race wears on and we get down to the end, it becomes much more animated. Hey, you got to pit. We got to pit together.
Right now, with only 40 coming off, 43 laps being completed, there's a whole lot of once again up high on the racetrack.
Ken Schrader about to move around him.
Schrader, although not stealing a whole lot of headlines this year, has had a great season. As we told you when we came on the air and showed you the point standings, he's 5th in the points. But what, 6th behind 4th place Mark Martin? Ken Schrader is having a great season for Hendrick Motorsports. We'll be back with more live coverage of the Pepsi 400 in just a moment. Irvin is your leader. Ernie Irvan, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Bodine are your top 3 as we rejoin us for lap number 46 of the Pepsi 400. Ray Bestis Brakes providing helicopter shots of today's Pepsi 400 race action. Helicopter hovering high above and giving you a perspective of not only the action on the track, but the tremendous crowd that's turned out here on a typical hot and humid day in Florida. And there is the 23 car of Hut Strickland that has apparently, well, an engine or something has gone wrong because he's going very slowly.
He could have run out of gas, Bob, but it's a little bit early with the restrictor plate engines. They don't run nearly as much gas. If they were not running restrictor plates, we would have already seen the entire field in the pits. But, you know, it's possible that he could have run out of fuel.
Tell you what, he's awfully slow up in 3 and 4. Maybe he'll make it back. Maybe he won't. If he don't, that'll be a break for a lot of cars.
Well, he's in the middle of turn 4. Looks like he is going to make it. We understand that Dale Earnhardt will be making a pit stop in the next couple of laps. We'll keep our eyes out for that. As Strickland's car has now made it off of the 4th turn and onto the entrance to pit road. Here they are. Top 3. Here comes 4, 5, 6, and 7. Being led by Greg Sachs. Then Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon. Now, might there be a problem with that car, Jerry?
Exactly, Bob. You've heard of the term hot shoe. Well, how about hot foot? Gordon's car is a looser tie. What's happening is his right foot is burning. They are going to come in on their regular pit stop here in just a few laps and put this pad over his shoe to try to keep his foot from burning. He is moaning and complaining. In fact, yesterday in the final practice session, we took our little temperature gauge and shot the floorboard after 20 laps. It was 151 degrees down at the driver's right foot.
That's hot enough to fry an egg, isn't it? Or your foot.
I don't know how they're going to get that piece on his foot. I mean, they have a window in the right side of the car, and I don't know how they plan on doing this unless they're going to take the window out and someone dive in the car with him.
Because with him strapped in the way he is, he can't lean down to do it.
No, he can't reach down and do it.
Well, Hut Strickland did make it back to the pits, but they have a hood up on his car, so apparently it was not out of fuel. They haven't even attempted to change tires or anything.
Here's Mark Martin now looking ahead to Jeff Gordon, and pit stop should be occurring here momentarily. That's the completion of lap number 49.
And see the windshield, see how Jeff Gordon's car is going up? That's a Lexan windshield. It's not glass. That's why the picture distorts every once in a while.
Yep. Let's look at the telemetry here. The tachometer on the left and the speedometer on the right.
6,590, 6,600, 6,700 RPMs. Man, oh man, see at the short tracks where you're accustomed to seeing like 8,500, here about 7,000 RPMs, 192 miles an hour. On the right there, you see the red. That is the highest that they achieved, so 65.13.
And here comes Harry Gannon for a pit stop. Harry starting his final race ever at Daytona. Now that we're into the second half of the season, every track that Harry competes on will be his final performance at that particular venue. 4 tires. Harry got a 1957 Chevy convertible last night. He traded for one of his race cars. And here comes Brett Bodine in for a pit stop. Now we are beginning to see the pit stops being made under green here with 50 laps completed. John Kernan can see it.
Brett Bodine in. It looks like it's only going to be right side tires for the Quaker State Ford. They also bumped the spoiler up. Apparently the car just a tad on the loose side. Also tape on the front nose. Bobby Labonte brings his Pontiac in. Yes, it's a 2-tire change, and Brett is down and away. Bobby Labonte in for a change. It's going to be a 4 tires as they We'll take the lug nuts off on the left side. Also 2 cans of gasoline. We expect a lot more crews coming down as they swing around to the left side. Now Jimmy Spencer is also in further down pit road. They make a chassis adjustment on Bobby Labonte's car, and Loy Allen also coming down pit road.
So is John Andretti. Lake Speed is in. Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Hillen, Derek Cope. He is overshot or something.
This microphone isn't working, so let me tell you that Derek Cope overshot his pits. Couldn't find it. He's got to go all the way back around to find his pit.
Jeff Gordon comes in. Kyle Petty is on pit road. Jerry Punch will call Jeff Gordon's pit stop. Here he comes. We'll see if he puts that thing on his foot, Jerry.
Well, the bad news for Jeff Gordon, they have told him under a green flag pit stop, which this is, they will not have time to put the pad in. As Benny Parsons mentioned, they have to take the right side window out and take the net down. The window net has the clamp. They told Jeff if we get a caution flag, we'll hand you the pads and you put it on. All they do right now is change right side tires, Jerry grabs the motor, puts it back in gear, and he is down and away.
Swing around the left side. It's a 4-tire change for Dale Earnhardt. They've also taken a rubber out of the right front. Right that's tight. Earnhardt has a little bit of sheet metal damage on the left front of his nose. Apparently, Earnhardt had gotten into somebody, but it doesn't look like it's serious damage.
Now, here come the front three as Irvin, Marlin, and Bodine all come to... Oh, and we have a near crash on pit road as Ernie Irvin and Todd Bodine ran into each other. What happened, Jerry?
Well, contact. It was the front end of Todd Bodine's car. The left rear fender on Ernie Irvin's Havoline Ford is crumpled in. The crew now never faltered 1 second. They have already changed right side tires. Now left side tires going on. Meanwhile, they have likewise changed left side tires on the Kodak Chevrolet. Here is Ernie Irvin down and away. They finally pulled the jack on Sterling Marlin's car, and he will head down as a tire rolls across the center of pit road. Rusty Wallace will dodge the tire as he breaks his car in for his first pit stop.
Made it to the grass, so it's not a threat to be hit. Rusty Wallace getting service on his Miller Genuine Draft Ford. And here is what happened as Bodine and Ernie made contact.
Todd Bodine is leaving the pits. Ernie Irvin's coming in, and they do make contact. And I tell you what, that tire, let's watch one more time. As Ernie's trying to get to his pits, Todd Bodine is trying to leave, and folks, that could have been some serious damage. And you know, I think this tire out there, no, someone has walked out there. They're going to get that tire with green flag situation going on. But meanwhile, Ward Burton is slow up at 3 and 4.
And this could be a caution, as it looks as if that car will not make it back to the pit area.
I said 3 and 4. Is that turn 2?
It's over in turn 2, so he's got a long way to go. And as you take a look here on the right, let's point this out, guys. Some improvements to Daytona. That is a concrete wall and catch fence they've constructed to keep people out of the lake. Dick Trickle is in with new sponsorship. Skybox International on that car.
Jeff Burton is just now leaving the pits. The Rebestos Ford, he was leaving the race, and the caution flag is out.
The caution comes out on lap number 54. The first of the day, and it's because Ward Burton is stopped over at the bottom of turn number 2. We presume the Hardy Chevrolet is out of fuel. Back with more live coverage in a moment. Yet another car is stalled out on the racetrack. That is Kyle Petty, whose mellow yellow Pontiac.
And Loy Allen is right behind him.
Maybe they're waiting for the field to catch up.
I guess they are.
Yeah. I think that's the case.
However, Ward Burton was the reason that the caution came out, and that was because his car was stopped over in turn number 2. So while his car makes it back to the pit area, we'll take another break and be right back.
Exhaust pipes or tailpipes in your passenger car basically are pretty boring. Round, symmetrical in shape, and about 2 inches in diameter. That's because your passenger car doesn't have to worry about ground clearance or exhaust gas temperatures. Now, what are we talking about in Winston Cup racing? The Winston Cup car has a minimal ground clearance, about 3.5 inches allowed between the bottom of the tailpipe and that racetrack zipping by pretty quickly. And also the exhaust gases coming out of a Winston Cup pipe over 1,400 degrees, which can make that pipe glow in the dark at times and expand. That's why here at Sabco Racing, building a Winston Cup exhaust pipe is quite an adventure. Let me show you. The pipe obviously tapered because of the ground clearance. But this is the important part. The holes drilled in the middle of the pipe go all the way through and through. Now, these holes are actually tubes which allow ventilation of air. The air ventilation helps cool the pipe and thus cool the gases. Now, cooling the pipe minimizes the expansion so the pipe won't scrape as you're going through the turns at speed. But also the tubes allow structural integrity of the pipe, making the pipe even stronger. So if you were to scrape, it's not going to crack. So even making an exhaust pipe is a technological adventure in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
All right, Derry Punch there with our track fact, and Sterling Marlin with the hood up on pit road.
Looks like they're putting water in the car. That looks like a water hose. They're trying to feed some water in. Jerry Punch, are you there?
Yeah, we are here, Benny, and unfortunately it's not exhaust gases that's overheating. It is the engine that's overheating in this Kodak Chevrolet. You know, earlier when Sterling took the lead and Ernie Irvin was following him, Ernie had radioed in, and we saw as the car leaves there is water pouring out of the overflow valve in the back. Ernie radioed into his crew chief, Larry McMillan, tell the 4 team that they are spraying water on my windshield. I'm behind them. I'm going to go ahead and pass them and lead this thing, and that's why you saw Larry McReynolds go down and tell Tony Glover, we think your car is overheating. When they came down pit road, they looked at the water temperature, which wasn't really that high, but it's still pushing water out of the exhaust, and now he came back in a minute ago, and it was starting to peg the water temperature. So it looks like it could be a bad omen for the defending Daytona 500 winner.
That car number 4, by the way, has won 3 of the last 7 races here at Daytona with Ernie Irvin and Sterling Marlin, the 91 500, the 92 400, and the 94 500. Here is Loy Allen completing his pit stop in the Hooters Ford, getting back out of the racetrack. Others include Bobby Hamilton and Dave Marcus in, and John Kernan has a report on the 31 car.
Well, Bob Ward Burton had meant to pit right behind Bill Elliott. They were sharing, but not sharing, because they were pitting nose to tail. Elliott in the first pit, and then Ward the next one. Well, Ward came in behind Bill and could not get into his pit. Therefore, he had to go back down pit road, back out onto the racetrack, and that is when he ran out of gas. They finally got the car filled up and refired, but he's got to be a couple of laps down by now, at least.
They pushed the car back of the wall, and I thought maybe he was going to drop out of the race, but they're only getting the car started. Back to Jerry with Sterling Marlin.
This time they're going to come back in and put 4 fresh tires on the car. They've changed the right side tires, come back around and change left side tires. Once again, they'll top it off in fuel. Remember, most of these teams trying to make it on just 2 fuel stops. They will also come across and add a round of 5 in the left rear. Making a round and a half. They now let the car off the jack. They need it down and away, but a little bit of smoke from the car as he begins to make his way back to turn 1.
As we watch all these pit stops, I want to say hello to one of our producers, Pam Miller, who's back in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hello, Pam. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, we hope you can rejoin us real quick. And a new race fan entered the world on May 17th, Alexander Thomas Sladek, who is the son of one of our cameramen, Tom Sladek. Tom and Vicky with a new baby boy, 7 pounds and 12 ounces. Well, some sunning going on here as the sun remains out, and some hot tubbing. Looks good. Wish I could join you. We're calling, however, the Pepsi 400 NASCAR Winston Cup race. We'll be right back. Spent in the next year or so to bring that into reality, and it's just another reason why you should come to Daytona, certainly to see a race, but if your visit brings you at an off-race time, why, you can see a lot here at Daytona.
You know, Ned, I bet you they haven't spent $18 million on this racetrack up to this point.
I think the original cost was somewhere between $2 and $3 million of the track itself.
And this expansion several years ago was about $9 or $10 million, so that is a huge number they're talking about.
We're showing you an Autolite field summary where everyone is running at the moment as we remain under caution. The reason for the caution was Ward Burton's stalled car over in turn number 2.
Now, we see there were 28 cars in the lead lap, Bob. A number of these cars during the green flag pit stops got a lap down.
Rusty Wallace is a lap down, running in 32nd position.
The bad news is that Ernie Irvin and Earnhardt, his competitors in the Winston Cup, have both led the race.
Harry Gant is having problems. John, what's the problem?
Bobby's just leaving pit road after a 4-tire change. They also put 2 full rubber donuts in both of the rear springs, so they're having some handling problems.
He's going to have a tough time getting caught up to the field because they're coming off of turn 4 to get the green flag. And Harry is just going out of the pits down in turn 1, so he's going to be running by himself out there for a while.
He's shown as a lap down in 37th position as the field comes slowly through corner number 4, still being led by the pace car, but now Pontiac pace car pulls off, and we're set for the final 100 laps of this 160 lap Pepsi 400. The leader of the race is Jeff Gordon, with Ernie Irvan running second. Jimmy Hensley in car number 55 leads them down. He's at the tail end of the lead lap.
Hensley and Darrell Walton, the Western Auto car. A lap down, both of them trying to get that lap back. Rusty Wallace right by the side of Ernie Irvan.
I think Jeff better play it cool here and not try to put Jimmy a lap down at the moment.
He's going to use his draft right now to try to pull ahead of the others and pull them by Walter, which he does. It's Darrell Walter walks down on the inside.
Well, it's certainly too early to say anything yet, but Rusty is not living up to the standards that he has set the last 3 races. He is in the second spot.
And now Jimmy Hensley does go a lap down to Jeff Gordon. And Ernie Irvan is on the outside trying to follow Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Bodine is third, and then Ken Schrader, and then Mark Martin, your top 5 with 98 laps to go. Looking from out the back of Jeff Gordon's car, back to Ernie Irvan.
Car, great run today, and there's Jerry Cope. Fingerhut car, he's a lap down as well.
Yeah, he missed his pits, as you pointed out, Benny, and had to go back around again, and that really cost him.
You pointed out, Ned, I just said it.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't say it. I could say it, but you couldn't hear me.
Oh, Mark Martin almost on the apron down there, but trying to go by Schrader. He had a good run, thought he would take that spot away, and he might. And still contested.
7 cars break away, but included in that group is Jimmy Hensley a lap down. Mark Martin and Ken Schrader are battling alongside each other. And Dale Earnhardt is catching up to this group. Greg Saxon, number 77, seems to be going the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't know if he got caught down on the inside lane there behind Darrell Walter, who's not running as fast as those other cars. Now Greg moves up on the outside, and that cost him several positions. Now Rusty Wallace moves over to let Lake Speed and Dale Jarrett go by.
Jeff Purvis is on the inside behind Darrell and Steve Grissom. And here goes the lead. Ernie Irvan trying to take the lead from Jeff Gordon. He does it.
Jeff Bodine falls in on the back of Ernie Irvan and takes second position. Mark Martin will come along. He goes to third. Earnhardt now tries to grab up to challenge for fourth.
Wow, who is that on the outside up there?
Lake Speed coming up on the outside.
Boy, Lake has just had a great race.
He and Spencer come off. Always makes me nervous when those guys come off side by side.
A lot different perspective up here than it is behind the wheel, isn't it, Benny?
It sure is. Of course, it always scared me when I was behind the wheel.
Well, you never acted that way. This is Derek Cope's in-car camera, and he goes to the inside of Jimmy Spencer in the middle of turn 2.
We got Spencer a little bit loose, and Spencer had to fight the wheel up the racetrack, carry the car off the racetrack, and catch it back in. And Cope tried to go by, but he had no one to help him. And Spencer went up on the outside, found other cars to help him, and Cope is going backwards.
The rain goes by. Walter having a good run here today. He got had made a good pit stop, and he was back to that 20th position, but now finds himself up in the top 10. Ninth place right now.
You see the Fingerhut car. As there's Greg Sachs.
There's Michael Waltrip in the number 30 car, as Ned said, a terrific year. In '93, he was 22nd in points at this point in the season. Now he is 8th. And as a matter of fact, his lowest position in the points this year has been 22nd, but he has really been putting together some consistent finishes of recent.
He ran well here in the Daytona 500 and crashed up in turn 3 with Todd Bodine and Jimmy Spencer and think Ted Musgrave's also in that big crash. Whoa, baby.
Like I say, Spencer knows exactly how long that car is, then I guess.
He misjudged by about a quarter of an inch that time.
He had the back end hung out, didn't he? Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, and Ted Musgrave there in the middle of your screen.
One thing about it, Ned, they're running two distinct different grooves. Some of the cars on the bottom of the racetrack and other cars right on the top of the racetrack.
Depends on how your car is set up and how it's handled. Bill Elliott, he's right up there in 13th position. I believe he's moved up to 12th now.
Guess what groove he's running, folks?
Elliott started scratch on the field in 43rd position, took a champion's provisional to get into the field. Didn't even participate in second day qualifying, made the option before it. He's moved up well. Highest position has been 11th. He has not led a lap, but he is doing as Junior Johnson suggested, having a good run, moving up.
He is a master at drafting.
And John Kernan has more on Bill Elliott.
Well, Bob, Bill's contract with Junior Johnson is up at the end of this season, and all the speculation leads everyone to believe that Junior is headed back to or not Junior, but Bill is leaving Juniors to head back to Dawsonville to form his own team along with Ernie Elliott. But Bill has been asked by many members of the media if that is a distraction, if he's already looking forward to next year. Bill says absolutely not. In fact, he believes he's more focused right now with the Junior Johnson crew because he's trying to help them work through the slump than he has been since he joined the team when he won all those races his first year with Junior a couple of years ago. But Bill says right now he is focused on what he needs to do to get a victory for Junior Johnson sometime this year.
And of course he wants to do so for himself and his fans too, because he has one of the largest followings of any driver on the circuit, multi-time winner and the most popular driver, and he wants very much to give his fans a win too, to show that it's not just Bill Elliott that is winning.
Ever see the Heilig Myers car, Mike Wallace?
Running 14th, Benny.
Wow, pretty good car, pretty good run for Junie Don Levin, Mike Wallace. To the trial, there goes Saxby on the outside. Boy Allen, the outside pole sitter, closes up front with the back bumper, Mike Wallace.
He's a lap down.
Todd Bodine is also in this group. Well, Ernie Irvin leads with Jeff Bodine running second, Mark Martin third, Jeff Gordon fourth, and Dale Earnhardt fifth after 70 laps. Here are the leaders as we complete lap number 73 of the Daytona International Speedway Pepsi 400. It's Ernie Irvin, Jeff Bodine, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt.
The white car on the inside they're going by is Richie Petty, the nephew of Richard, Maurice's son.
He's been off the pace quite a bit, 5 laps down in 41st position. Here's Gerald Ernie Irvin.
Guys, a couple of laps ago, Ernie Irvin radioed his crew. Said someone go down and tell the 7 crew and the 6 crew if they'll stay in line, we may have a chance of pulling away. Tell them that black 3 is coming in a hurry. So Irvin said, hey, tell Bodine to stay right behind me. We'll get away. Otherwise, Earnhardt's going to catch us.
It looks like that Dale is doing just that. He has passed Jeff Gordon. He's now in 4th position and coming forward.
Here's Jeff Burton. Remember, he was running very well earlier on.
Well, in the top 10 before those pit stops, he finds himself now back in 15th position. There are your top 3. Here's Ken Schrader.
Well, see, Jimmy Spencer has been able to get by Jeff Gordon as well.
Yep. Both Schrader and Lake Speed are trying to find a way around Jeff Gordon.
Derek Cope there in car number 98 is running very, very strong. Even though he's a lap down, but he's able to run with the leaders as we look out his windshield towards Lake Speed.
Schrader and Lake Speed once again going to try to get by Jeff Gordon.